I'm here with Blue Ox because they just saved us from a major catastrophe.
It's RV inspection day, and today we are in Hershey, Pennsylvania, about to inspect this east to west Tandara 285 FL. Now, you don't know what we're going to find, and I don't know what we're going to find, so stick around because our customers are hoping that we don't find anything, but we will keep you posted.
This is a special one because we didn't know how this was going to turn out, and it just happened to be that we have somebody with us that knew everything about everything. He's one of them. You know, like us, it's like, okay, we're smart, we know it all, we know about a lot of things, and we're convinced how comfortable we are with what we have. He emphasized a lot about, I know all my rig, I know the top, the bottom, the underneath. I just want you to check on the warranty part because I got this thing going on. So, all right, well, I'm confused when he's talking because I'm thinking, what does he want? If you know everything about everything, why are you calling me? We went into this back and forth, and I said, okay, well, we'll do it. So we'll do an inspection on his rig. Clay also, after we found a couple of things, had his way of seeing what happened. So in a way, I think he had some kind of meltdown with his unit after we found a couple of things that he forgot to think about. We don't know what we don't know. So I will refer to one of our videos with an airplane inspector. Jeff specifically says you hire the specialist in your field because you don't know what you're looking at when it's not your field. We went through the process. We finally understood each other, what you were looking for.
Right.
What was your purpose of getting that inspection?
How we ended up to where we were was Marie and I have a useless warranty that, I say useless, y'all, because it's never going to pay out. But it does provide emotional comfort
for the wives.
For the wives, yes. And a future argument for me to have with somebody in case I don't argue enough. What it is, it's called a forever warranty, and they threw it in when we bought the fifth wheel. As part of that, we have to have the rig inspected on multiple key components. So they want to test the burner, they want somebody to look at the roof, make sure there's no leaks, they want to look at the suspension and just general overall things. Well, I know that Blue Ox does not do general overviews, and because we have to go all the way back to completely unpack this, but one of the reasons why Marie and I were at the Hershey show was to look at a very specific RV that we're potentially, we might, maybe, goodwill in the creek doesn't rise.
Contemplating seriously, maybe, trading our rig for a different RV that might be 2 feet longer, that gives us a bigger closet and washer and dryer. In order to make sure that our RV was in tip-top shape, because I already knew it was, and that's a key point here, keep that in mind. I wanted to get that inspection done. We met Pierre and Laurel at a creators conference in Hershey that we just happened to be at. I asked Pierre if he could help us out and go through this list of things that the warranty wants checked off. Now, due to my hearing deficiency and his personality, we didn't hit it off right off the bat. He didn't understand me, and I couldn't hear what he was asking. Pierre comes out, and we give him the list of things that we need checked. He finds a couple issues with the roof, which, you know, I was thankful for because we don't want our rig going to somebody that it have a leak in the roof. I started making a list of everything, and he's walking around, and I mean, I didn't know what a real inspection looked like. He starts going through the thing. Well, hold on, let's rewind here. Keep your mind, keep your thoughts. Because when you told me, when we showed up and you says, yeah, do your thing, do your inspection. It's 1:30 in the afternoon. I told him, I'm not doing an inspection. This is not gonna happen in 3 hours. This is not what we do. That's why we start at 9 o'clock in the morning. And all of a sudden you throw that at me and you surprise me?
Yep.
What the hell are you thinking I was gonna find? Nothing? That was your purpose. That's what I don't want people to do. And this was his call, and we understood each other. He says, okay. He says, I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to follow you on what you do. But
we thought, well, what we'll do is we'll do a collaboration video. You know, my understanding of what an RV inspector did was right around here. I thought maybe they fill the water tanks. Maybe they look for leaks. I didn't really understand everything that goes into it. So after Blue Ox came on site, we talked about what we needed to satisfy the warranty inspection, which after talking with them, came to find out is extremely deficient from what they actually do as an RV inspection. They spend way more time checking way more things than what our form needed filled out. They go in and they spend 8 to 10 hours on the inside and the outside. That's 2 people working in tandem, checking everything. So from my standpoint, you know, this is our second rig that we bought. You know, my thought was when somebody says, hey, inspect your RV before you take delivery of it. My thought was you fill the fresh water tanks, make sure the water pump works. You check the power, make sure the lights come on. It never in a million years occurred to me that I didn't know what I didn't know, which is what Pierre helped fill out these deficiencies in my thought. With bedroom slides, there are flaps that are supposed to be up there, and they're supposed to hang all the way down to cover your rollers. You shouldn't be able to stick your hands all the way in.
So all of you, and all of you should know better. Don't be like Clay, don't be like John, don't be like Dave. Unroll your wiper seal so they don't get caught like this. So they actually work like the intent of having a wiper seal.
Under the slides, there supposed to be rubber seals down there that water can't splash up from the tires and soak the living room floor. There are just tons of things that if you don't know what to look for. And if you've never seen what right looks like, you don't know what right looks like. We started going through the rig, and after we hit a couple spots on it, the big one for us was the suspension.
Okay, so let me interject in here. As he's standing by the staircase and he's looking at me taking pictures, because that's kind of cool. He's got a numb nut underneath a slide out that's doing I don't know what. This is what happened. I've got a shackle, got a leaf spring suspension. You know, at the end you got those yokes where the blade comes up. So in this little yoke, there's a bolt, but the bolt is not in the middle. It's down here. So that becomes a problem right away. I said, okay, we might have a bigger issue than we think, and you probably need to change those bolts because that CRE 3000 should have wet bolts, should have a bolt with a greasing point, which his didn't come with it. And that's a research that he did last week that we talked about, and now I even emphasize about this, and now I'm going to look into this even more, but dealers do whatever they want, and that's the purpose of this. They do whatever they want. So if they skip you on parts, you'll never know. That's where the inspector, we have this knowledge, because like Clay was saying, we've seen a unit that is good, and we see the difference between a unit that's modified or has 50,000 miles. 50,000 miles. The guy who knows it all didn't even check his bolts ever. Go figure that one.
What we did was we did a ton of research, and the person I spoke with at Moride said that the CRE 3000 suspension kit is never sold without wet bolts. So that immediately raised a red flag. Well, if we don't have wet bolts, what the hell's kind of bolts do we have in there? Like Pierre was saying, you know, the shackle bolts are supposed to be round. These were oblonged. It had been bouncing around and moving and all kind of other things. To their credit, and again, we'd have to go all the way back to us showing up in Hershey to unpack all this, which you can catch in our video because we're going to do all that. General RV was able to get us in. They put the rig up on a lift, and we thought it was just going to be replacing the Moride wet bolt kit, which is the letter U, the letter O, the number 12-016.
There goes the guy with all the numbers that he remembers. Maria, how do you live with this guy? It's all about, he remembers everything. It's phenomenal. But he forgets to take care of his unit.
Well, I didn't forget to take care of it.
Just a minute to look at if there was wheels and shackles.
So we ordered this kit, we took it into General RV. General RV lifts the unit up, and it's way worse than just some wore out bolts.
Hey, you got pictures of those?
Actually, hold on, I brought them.
All
right, our rig has about 50,000 miles on it. Honestly, I never thought to look at these components, and to be honest, I just assumed they were like a car. I mean, you change your shocks every 50, 100,000 miles. This thing doesn't have shocks. I figured the leaf springs ought to be good for 100 grand. So we never checked this, and thank God Blue Ox came along and started doing their inspection. And I'll show you why. I learned a new vocabulary as well. So this is the Equalizer, all right? This is what hangs from your main thing. Your shackles hang off of that like that, and then your leaf springs connect up to that. They go to the frame of the RV. This is the back side where that hole has been wallowed out. It's no longer round, it's oblong. which means this thing was doing this in the frame of the RV for quite some time. Now, because this was gyrating around,
So that did the same thing, basically.
these did the exact same thing. And as you can see, that one is almost all the way busted through, which would have dropped a shackle, which means one axle would have come loose. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, you can see on the Equalizer, it's welded and boxed across the tops and the sides. It has 2 rubber bushings to soften it. When you spin it around to this side, the weld is busted all the way up to the top of it. Had this come loose, that whole driver's side axle would have come loose, taken out the rear axle. The twisting of it would have busted the other side loose. It would have been a mess, a big mess.
So you're telling me this was the driver's side?
This was the driver's side.
That's the side we didn't even get to.
Correct.
So we started with the stronger side, which alarmed Clay in a nice way. And I just want to say this for you people watching out there. He's got a normal trailer. Yes, they're not wet bolts. I understand that would help. But that's 50,000 miles on a trailer. And don't get comfortable because you hear 15, you say, well, I only did 15, 20,000 since the last 3-4 years. Well, you're sitting down at home, it's rusting because you're parking it half the year. We live full time. This is a little bit different than what other people do, so I just wanted to point that out.
Well, but still, here's how difficult it is to see what this stuff looks like. And I'm gonna try and get a bolt here. These are one-time use bolts, by the way. Once you take them off, you cannot reuse them. They're oblong shaped and they're torqued on. When you've got this thing sitting up inside your frame, just glancing at it is very, very hard to see. This is why you need a trained inspector, a trained eye looking at these things, because you can see just enough deformation around the bottom, and these things get dirty. You need somebody that knows what right looks like. Now, in our case, this one was so bad, and I have to give a big thank you to General RV. We did not buy new Equalizers. So we had one that was bad. General RV gave us one for free off of a display model that they had to put our rig back together. Now, as of the making of this, I have not contacted East to West. I have not contacted Moride about this unit, so I can't put anything on anybody other than we've got what appears to be a failure. Now, these
are not failure. This is normal wear, I would say.
Well, what this is,
that's Dexter?
This is a Dexter application. Yeah. So these and these bolts are not Moride. So what happened is somebody, and I'm going to say Dexter, I don't know for sure, let me be clear about that. An Equalizer was purchased, not a Cree 3000 system. So you've got to be really careful when somebody says it has a Cree 3000 system on it. Make sure it has their shackles, wet bolts, everything. I'm going to go on record to say if it's got a Cree 3000 Equalizer and it doesn't have wet bolts, it's not the suspension system. It's just the Equalizer. These are Dexter. They're the proper bolts. They've got bite rings on them. You know, they're pressed in and torqued. Here's my problem, and Pierre, my eyesight's not as good as it used to be, but is that not 2 different types of bushing? Is one not brass and one plastic?
Yeah, it is. So that's what happened, is some of them will put those plastic sleeve and some of them will put those copper sleeve, which copper, for me, it's easier to see. These are always sneaky because they look like they're okay at the end, but see the inside, what happened? Take a look at this. It went through the bolt. So you don't see this when it's hidden in there. So that's what I hate about them. And they should be copper in my book anyway.
So here's my thinking, because I've only found 2 of these. Moride came with the brass bushings.
Okay.
Dexter came with the nylon.
Okay, and let's remember, those are 2 different manufacturers.
They are 2 different manufacturers.
Your axle and your leaf spring,
all Dexter,
are always, I'll say almost all the time Dexter. That's why, like Clay was saying, and now I see what he's saying too, is that somebody made you believe that, oh, this comes with CRE 3000 from Moride. This is awesome equalizer. Well, here's another way where they sneak it into you as manufacturer. This costs them less money to do it this way. It's always about money, but then it becomes about your safety.
That right there, I don't know if you can get a close-up of just how thin that is.
There's definitely not much left there.
General RV, they got us all straightened out. It took them 10 hours to get this done. It wasn't for the fact, I mean, you can see the bolts are fairly clean. There's no rust on them or anything like that. It literally was that hard of a job to do with getting everything lined up, and I won't bore you with the details.
So good thing you and I didn't attack this, huh?
That's what I was telling Maria. If we had done this, that rig would be there still.
Yeah.
But the Moride kit is about 4 of these put together. The shackles are 1/2 inch on either side.
Yes.
I mean, they're massive.
Yes, you're right.
So,
okay. Yeah. So that's the cheap version, and Moride has the better version.
this is Dexter.
We're not going to name any name, but those are all Dexter.
I'm not pointing fingers, and hell,
I am. Those are Dexter.
These may have a mileage limit of 50,000 miles. Shit, I don't know.
Exactly.
Hell, I don't know.
Try another one. You said shit, hell, let's try another one. So they don't edit us. See, we're easy going like that too.
These may only have a 50,000 mile limit on them. I don't know. It may have a 12,000. It may be like your bearings to where you're supposed to replace them every 6,000 miles or 1 year. I don't know, because I just assumed that they were like my old 66 Chevy truck, and as long as it rolled, it was good. This to me was eye-opening enough to do a video. Pierre and I joked with each other about him doing the inspection on our RV. And he was actually kind of concerned that maybe he had offended us. And I can tell you right now, if you're the type of person that gets offended by somebody pointing out a deficiency in your trailer that you spent thousands of dollars on, you're a jerk. You shouldn't want things to stay broken on your rig. You shouldn't want things like this to be hidden from you. You should correct this so you don't kill yourself or somebody else on the road. That's why I think an RV inspection is a fantastic idea. And with that said, we're going to put Clay's mess away, and we're actually going to hear from Pierre about what it is that they inspect and why they inspect those things.
I've heard a comment before saying that you state the obvious, or these are the kind of inspector that would admit if they missed something. Well, let me tell you something. We're human. We could miss something. It's part of everyday life. This is what we do. But the strive of wanting to excel and see every square inch of the unit is embedded into Laurel and I. That's how we are. That's how we run our business. And that's why we are who we are. And a lot of people rely on us to the highest level where, okay, now it's even worse because we got to make sure that we comply to their expectation. Going back to your point about how people don't want to hear the truth, I think this is human. It's like every problem we find in RVs. You want to make yourself feel good, so you hire an inspector. Well, I'm buying this brand new rig, and I'm going to hire an inspector, and he's going to tell me that it's all fine.
Right.
Like you did. Okay, I want this to be perfect. So I'm going to hire you, you're going to tell me it's perfect, and that's what you told me. You're going to tell me it's perfect, and here's the list.
And honestly, and all y'all can hear this straight from me. The reason he's jabbing me about it being perfect is that's what I told him. I stay up on everything on that rig. I know the rig inside out. Well, I knew the rig up to what I knew. Pierre comes along and just destroys all that, throws it overboard. I had never thought to look at stuff like this. I knew to clean the AC units. I knew to check for propane leaks. I knew to make sure the fuses were good, the tail lights were good. If trim came off, put it back in place. Those were replace the wheel bearings, repack them. Those were the things that I knew.
You had sealant everywhere. I know on the surface, I knew you were taking care of it. To your level of knowledge.
That's it, to my level of knowledge.
Yeah. So it's like buying a new rig, people. It's the same thing. Because you think you're paying $80,000, $150,000, $500,000, $2.2 million. We have an Essex we're going to have to inspect. They're paying $2 million. Well, why would they hire us? What's the point? They paid $2 million. What's the difference with you paying 80,000 or 100,000? There's no difference to me. It's a box. And somebody's got to have knowledge in what they're looking for. And again, I'm going to say, we've had some customers that are inspectors in other fields. Why do they rely on us? Just like I would rely on them if I'm flying a plane, I'm going to call Jeff. Jeff, you need to inspect my plane. I don't know how to inspect a plane. I can fly them, but I don't know how to inspect them. That's what I'm saying. We don't need to be stubborn. We just need to be human and admit that, okay, some people might know a little bit more than me, and that's the giveaway and the takeaway from this. And this just how Clay felt about this. For me, we were just doing this, and it wasn't going to be a video at first because it was just about helping him out. And yeah, okay, we'll just check stuff in general, and here's the 5-6 boxes we got to check, because he tells me that he's good with everything, and he already knows because he maintained. We're all the same, and I understand. So just take this home, please. You only know what you know.
Yep.
For me, that this is it. I just happen to see a little bit more of things because I've seen it over and over. And we used to manufacture trailers also, so that's the other point. I used to install Dexter Torflex suspension, so I'm used to, not shackles, because I never use shackle. We use Torflex. So I would like to see the industry going with Torflex for me, because it's way easier, it's simple. We don't have these gizmo. It's just in a rubber sleeve and it's going up and down. So, but no, cost too much money. That would be too much money. Remember, these are made as cheap as they can get away with.
Yep.
This is the industry. So sorry, we're not trying to put nobody down except the whole industry, because they're all the same. There's no difference to me.
Well, it's the same thing as Chick-fil-A giving you smaller nuggets for more money. I mean, it's shrinkflation.
Yeah, I like that one. You gotta say that again slowly so people who are only 5 years old can understand. Just say it slowly.
It's shrinkflation.
Shrinkflation.
Right.
That's like Chick-fil-A.
So,
Woo.
cost goes up.
Yep.
Manufacturers have to maintain their vacations to Hawaii. So where they save that money is in the thickness of a bracket or the durability of it.
So, hope we scared the bejesus out of you and you learned something out of this.
Hopefully we scared the bejesus out of it and you go check your freaking suspension. Or you call somebody that knows what they're doing and have them check it for you. That'd be the prudent thing to do. Here's the big takeaway. One, we avoided what I consider a catastrophe. That alone is what causes rigs to end up in a ditch somewhere. Two, the trailer pulls so much better. So y'all,
See the difference. Oh, cool.
if you're getting clunking and you're getting on metal sounds, check this stuff, because now our rig is almost like it's floating on clouds. I can feel the leaf springs actually doing their job.
Leaf springs.
Leaf?
Leaf.
That's what I said. It's the southern thing.
Just checking. It's a southern thing. Oh, and I got to say this, because when you were there, General, Laurel told me we were at the same General all day. We're doing an inspection, which I didn't know. Good thing, because we would have never done our job. My point is, when you're at dealership, and a lot of numbnuts that work in the yard don't have a clue how to not destroy those. So my point is, keep an eye on those. You got 2 axles, and those guys lift the front end, and they steer the crap out of them and turn them on 0 turn. The tires are going on the, you've seen this before. You hear the clunk, the plink, the blank, the clunks are right here. Here's your clunk right there. So keep this in mind. This is what they do to your rig. They're not smart enough to lift it enough and actually turn it on 1 axle on 2 wheels. Wheels would just do this. It pisses me off when we were there. I even mentioned it to her. It's all of this put together that they do. Lack of quality. They don't supply the right parts, and when it ends up in the yard, and nobody cares anyway, nobody greases them, and then you end up like Clay on a cloud going to Maine, and all of a sudden you make the news because your trailer went that way and your pickup went that way. And
to wrap all this up, 1, get under your rig and check this stuff. 2, don't use nylon bushings. And 3, don't just assume that you know how to inspect your RV. Actually spend a little money and hire somebody to come look through it, because I honestly think, not to be dramatic, because I don't want that to come off this way, but had any of this broke, there's no telling what could have happened to me and Maria. I felt really bad after seeing this, that I had put both our lives in danger due to ignorance. Take it for what you will. Get it inspected.
You don't know what you don't know. Clay doesn't know about a lot of things. Hopefully you learned something out of this, and I appreciate Clay's presence to share his feeling about this adventure, and I'm just going to leave it at this. It's not about the destination.
It's all about the journey.
Moral.
I don't even know what I was saying.
I'm sorry.
All right, so where was I?
You. What does that mean?
It's just a hodgepodge of
Shit.
Okay, so it's not copper. Okay, so they put.
Shit, I don't remember what it was. What are those things called?
Leaf spray.
The leaf.
Are you the editor? You figure it out. Again, it's not about the destination.
It's all about the adventure.
Journey.
It's
All about the journey.
It's not about the destination.
Oh, that was my line.
He'll say it later. Maybe.
You want me to say it now? You just cut it in? What is it again?
All about the
All
journey.
about the destination. No, it's all about the journey. It's all about the journey. I don't even know either. Thank
Did
you.
I get it right?
Perfect.
So we'll see y'all next week or on the next episode or whenever we put the next video out. And y'all stay safe. Thanks for watching.
That was nice.
If you enjoy our videos, we would love it if you would hit subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and leave us a comment. If you don't know what to comment, just put C4BO, comment for Blue Ox, and don't forget, ring that notification bell so you'll be notified when our next video comes out. Thanks for watching.